So here we have the 318 John Deere, and the spindle broke. So we should just have the one bolt here for the tie rod in, and the bolt here, and then that should slide right down out of there. Okay, it may look funny in the video, but this spindle and the slot here lines up. So when we put the new spindle back up, we just have this straight. We should be able to put that right on there. Now I'm just going to try it. Try with a 15mm socket and see if this comes off. Okay, so it's a little more than an old Milwaukee old handle. So I'm got this long breaker bar. It wasn't that tight, but that's just what I had with me. This bolt has to come all the way out because this is your new spindle. And see this little notch in it? That bolt goes through and goes beside that. So the bolt has to come completely out. Now with that bolt out, I'll try to see if I can get this to wiggle down out of there. And it is. If it doesn't come easy, you can always take a chisel and put it in the slot and just widen it out a little bit, or a big screwdriver or something, just to spread it some. It doesn't look like we're going to need to. Should come right out of there. When I hit that, I hit back in here, so I didn't hurt nothing else. But there it is. Now the next thing you got to do is get this tie rod end off of there. So I got a 5/8 and a 19 on here. I think three quarters. And there, that should be off of there. Now, I'm going to just wipe a little bit of this stuff off. Try to make sure we don't get no debris in there. And put the new one in. The ideal thing would be is to have this all out and cleaned up. But I just try and get the dirt and the old dry hard grease out what I can. And then when we grease it, we'll pump some new grease into it. So I want to put the new one in, but I'm thinking there's just the top and the bottom little bit that hits. But I at least want to get the sticker off most of it, especially on the ends where it's going to hit. That seems to be the hardest part so far, is getting that sticker off of there. I don't know if you can see it, but it says Spindle left hand 318 AM103318 is the part number on this one. It goes by serial number. Some of the older ones are different. I used this to get the glue off where that sticker was. It worked pretty good. So now all the sticker is gone. And this kind of lines up. I'm going to put this straight in. I'm going to get this lined up so when it comes up through, and like I say, we want to try to be fairly straight with that that's not it. Got one more over. Now on this spindle, when I put it up in there, I tried putting it up in, and it's like part of a notch behind this, and then if you pull it down and turn it to the next spline and come up, it's in front of it. It doesn't seem to line up exactly the way it did with the other one, so I just chose to go one back. I thought that was the closest. Then you put your bolt back through, your washer and your nut. Now we can go ahead and tighten that up. There's probably a torque spec on there, and with that bolt going through there, it really can't come off, but you don't want it loose. You want this pinched tight onto the splines. If it's loose, it'll start wearing the splines. So now we can put the tie rod end up there where it belongs. I hope. Then we can just put the nut on there. There again, you want these snug and tight, but don't go with 1/2-inch drive and break stuff off. I don't know what I've done with my socket now. After you do that, and you put a few hours on the tractor, it might not be a bad idea to make sure these are tight. Go back and recheck them. You don't want neither one of them coming loose and wearing stuff out. So far this has been a pretty easy job. Now it's time to put that wheel back on. I think we will take and put a little bit of grease on here. Actually, now, since how there's no grease fitting, I'm putting a little bit of grease on the spindle, and I put just a little bit in there just to make sure that the spindle doesn't rust. They're sealed bearings, but I don't want the spindle and stuff to rust. So if you have a decent pair of snap ring pliers, it helps. Get them in there. I broke my last set. And you don't get that on there in that groove, and that holds the wheel on. Now you just got this little plastic cap. If you guys can see or not. So now all we got to do is pump some grease in this spindle. Now I greased it until there's grease coming out here and down here. And I'm going to wipe that grease away from all the places it oozed out, just so dirt don't get in there and work its way back in. So there we have it all put back together. The other spindle lasted for a long time, so hopefully this one will too.